Puerto Rico's grid gains support through DOE orders. Renewed orders aim to stabilize a strained grid. The Department of Energy, DOE, has renewed its Section 202C emergency orders for Puerto Rico, extending temporary support for the island's unstable power system as peak demand and storm exposure intensify. The directive, active from November 13, 2025 through February 10, 2026, allows PREPA to continue operating generation units essential for maintaining baseload supply while accelerating vegetation management across high-risk transmission corridors. DOE officials pointed to the gains achieved under the May and August orders, including the restoration of up to 820 megawatts of baseload capacity. Several units that had been offline for years returned to service, providing roughly a 13% increase to the island's available generation. For a system where individual unit failures can trigger island-wide consequences, those incremental restorations have been critical to avoiding deeper reliability gaps. Operational pressures highlight system vulnerabilities. Governor Jennifer Gonzalez Colon emphasized that Puerto Rico has recovered more than 1,200 megawatts of baseload capacity since spring, attributing much of that progress to the emergency flexibilities that enabled PREPA to prioritize essential repairs and fast-track line clearing. Vegetation remains one of the most persistent threats to the grid. Dense growth and steep terrain frequently lead to line faults during high winds, causing outages that ripple across the system. DOE's push to maintain emergency authority reflects the reality that Puerto Rico's thermal fleet continues to age faster than it can be replaced. Even with restoration of large units, the overall grid remains fragile, subject to equipment failures, storm damage, and delayed maintenance cycles that have accumulated over decades. Federal and private investments are redefining the long-term outlook. The renewed emergency orders land at a moment when long-term transformation is accelerating across the island. Federal investments, such as the $861.3 million initiative to expand renewable energy deployment and storage, are reshaping Puerto Rico's future resource mix. The funding is designed to support large-scale solar development, speed interconnection timelines, and expand storage capacity enough to reduce dependence on aging thermal units. Community-scale solar and resilience projects continue to take root as well. Recent federal programs promoting solar access for underserved neighborhoods are intended to increase energy affordability and reduce the strain on central generation, particularly during outages. These investments complement national initiatives such as the $7 billion Solar for All program, which provided resources to expand residential and community solar in areas with high energy burdens, including Puerto Rico. The combined effect is a steady shift toward distributed generation that reduces peak load on the central system and enhances local resilience during extreme weather. Private sector momentum is growing in parallel. Projects like Eaton's clean energy microgrid installation demonstrate how commercial partners are establishing reliable, localized power systems designed to operate independently during outages. These microgrids are increasingly viewed as essential pieces of the island's broader resilience strategy, offering operational continuity for critical community facilities. A transition period where emergency actions and modernization coexist. Puerto Rico's grid is entering a period in which short-term stabilization and long-term transformation must operate side by side. Emergency authorities remain necessary because renewable and microgrid deployments, while accelerating, have not yet reached a scale that can fully offset the vulnerability of the existing generation fleet. Even as solar and storage installations grow, the central grid continues to shoulder the majority of the island's load, and failures within the legacy system still carry outsized consequences. Federal officials have signaled that the goal is to eventually phase out emergency interventions as the island's energy system becomes more distributed, more modernized, and less dependent on large thermal units. Until then, DOE's 202C orders serve as a bridge, keeping power stable enough for the long-term build-out to take hold. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites presented by E+E Leader. For partnership opportunities, reach out to a member of our team.